Now then, Mark Harris in front of us here is a registered nurse and one of only 122 qualified male midwives working in the UK. As a midwife, Mark has delivered more than 500 babies and had at least 3 named after him. After initially training as a nurse, Mark says he went into midwifery because he's naturally gregarious, but says he gets some funny looks from both mums and dads to be, considering he's a 50-year-old skinhead. So here he is. It's a 50-year-old skinhead. Not a real skinhead. So the thing is, we should know all about this because Janie's got 4 kids. I've got 2 kids. But it's amazing how much stuff that we don't know that you know that's in this book. I've been skimming through it. It's a really interesting book. First of all, tell us kind of what's in the book and why you wrote it in the first place, Mark.
Well, I've been a midwife since 1994, and when I started, there were 61 men out of 32,000.
Right.
And in fact, it had only been legal since 1975. I was a nurse before that, and what drew me into midwifery was the idea that the word midwife is a verb. It means to be with woman. So there was no way I was going to get pulled away from people into a drug round because being with a woman was the most important thing. So I've been with loads of men over all those years, and men almost universally used to tell me, look, I feel left out.
Yeah.
I feel depowerised. There's a point in which the woman I love so intensely needs me, and I didn't know what to do. So that's why I wrote the book.
What is the trick for the man to be involved, and what should we know about the condition of pregnancy and the various stages of it?
I think the key thing, which I started to find out through working in an all-female, pretty much all-female environment, was this hormone oxytocin. And it's absolutely crucial when it comes to birth. And it's crucial for really solid, connected relationships. If a man gets that when a woman is flooded with oxytocin, she's going to feel really connected to him. Also, when she's flooded with oxytocin, birth is going to go well. And I think that's the key thing. What can he do to increase her oxytocin levels over time? Not just for birth, but in the relationship beyond birth.
I think it's really interesting as well that, as we all know, birth has become so much more over-medicalised in many cases. And what's just fantastic about your book is that you're explaining the process that actually is a natural process. It's meant to be a natural process. And what's really interesting is a lot of blokes actually, well, and some women, don't really know all these different bits. What we do know is that we sort of rock up in hospital or whatever situation, and sometimes fear is what blocks that oxytocin and stress, which is brilliant how you're explaining this.
Well, thank you very much. You know, we're mammals at the end of the day, and the part of the brain responsible for birth is the amygdala, which is millions of years old, and that's working intuitively. And thank God it works really well because we're here. You know, we wouldn't be if it didn't.
And what kind of things should us men know? Let me give you an example, and you'll be able to answer straight away, obviously. She says, I think my waters are breaking. That's an expression that we've used for years. I've no idea what it really means.
Well, you know, the baby's...
I know it's the baby's coming.
Well, not necessarily straight away.
No.
Not in my case.
Really?
About 3 days after.
Oh, my word.
Really?
So baby's in a bag of fluid. As the baby comes down in the uterus, a little balloon of fluid pools at the front of the baby's head. I'm demonstrating it. It don't work on radio, does it?
We're enjoying it, though.
And when that bag of fluid breaks, fluid comes out.
The woman doesn't always know that that's the moment.
No. If it happens and you're not sure, you make sure that you're comfortable that the baby's moving like the baby's always moved. And if you're not sure, you just ring your midwife.
Under what circumstances are babies induced?
Well, you can get induced for this so-called post-dates. You know, women are given a due date.
Yeah.
Now, the truth of the matter is, it's not a due date.
No.
It's a middle period between 2 weeks either side.
It's a guess, isn't it?
Based on an early scan, so it's maybe more than a guess.
Yeah.
But the discussion is whether a baby is ever overdue.
Absolutely. They come when they're cooked.
Yeah.
I had a friend who had hers very happily at 44 weeks.
Absolutely right.
Because she chose not to basically take the pressure to have to be induced.
We work on a 40 weeks plus 14 days, but it's more than that in France. So I'm quite sure they're not different species of human being in France. So it's a bit of a rough estimate. I think we need to move away from the words due date, because the minute you go over that, date, you think you're overdue, but you're not.
But there must be a huge pressure, presumably, in hospitals. Is there still a shortage of midwives? Is there that feeling that, well, that person's been in labour for so many hours, we're going to have to induce her now because we've got somebody else coming in?
Well, I think what we've got is an increasing birth rate. Is it 8 to 10% increased in recent years? But we haven't got an increase in resources. So my midwifery colleagues are working under enormous pressure, enormously compassionate people, it has to be said, working inside a structure that maybe isn't working quite as well as it could.
All right, now, this book by Mark Harris here is called Men, Love and Birth. What do men get from it and what do women get from it?
I think a man gets a very clear outline as to the steps that he can take to increase oxytocin in the woman he loves.
You have written it in a very blokey way.
I think I have,
like
on
that.
purpose. I mean, it's on purpose. So there are action boxes,
Yeah.
and some of the actions are a bit counterintuitive. So, for example, pick an area of housework that you know needs doing.
Yeah.
Don't tell her you're going to do it, and don't look for praise for it.
Oh.
It sounds a bit counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but it has oxytocin.
Very sensible.
Another thing would be pick something you've been whinging about in your own life for ages, an area of personal development.
Right.
Start to work on it. Don't tell her. Don't look for praise. And that would, again, another oxytocin rate. I don't know whether you agree.
Oh, I 100% agree. 100%. This is just gold here.
Wow.
But the other thing that's really great about look at your face.
Who knew?
Who'd have thought it? He's thinking, who'd have thought it? He could have cleaned the floor and it would have been all right.
But it makes sense now you've said it.
But the other thing, on a very practical level, you give guys really, really simple but really effective massage techniques.
Yeah.
Because what you need more than anything in pregnancy, and particularly in labour, you need those massage techniques.
Written by a colleague, has to be said.
Well done, you and your colleague.
Good review there.
I'm getting good
You're
reviews.
getting a really good
Stick with Janie.
Stick with Janie,
Yeah. Men, Love and Birth by Mark Harris is out now, published by Pinter and Martin. Really nice to meet you. Keep doing it, and we'll see you next time with the next one. I'm willing to bet you're going to do another one.
Fatherhood, I think, next.
Yeah, great. Brilliant. Mark Harris, everybody. That's brilliant. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.